Steph Curry was already the best shooter ever. He was already a first-ballot Hall of Famer. And more importantly, he had already transformed the very game of basketball itself. But still, despite everything he'd already accomplished, people always found something to discredit him with. He's never won a Finals MVP. His last 2 championships were because of Durant. He can't carry a team as the #1 option.
First quarter of a game, and you did that in game 4. Why?
Going into Game 4 of the 2022 Finals, Steph had the weight of the world on his shoulders. He was one loss away from having his legacy smeared, and the media couldn't wait. Unfortunately for them, however, what stepped onto the court on June 10th of 2022 wasn't just Steph Curry. It was inevitability itself, dressed in a Warriors jersey.
God,
different.
he went
bro.
nuclear.
It's like one of those things where I look back at it and I'm like, he's tough.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was the day Steph Curry became a basketball guy.
Game 4 is definitely my favorite game of my career because of the stakes that were a part of it and the fact that we lose that game, who knows if we ever have a chance to win a championship again.
Have you ever wondered what's harder than achieving greatness? Climbing back to the top after hitting rock bottom. In the late 2010s, Steph Curry didn't just reach the top, he lived there.
There's a new dynasty in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors champions once again, back-to-back titles, 3 in 4 years.
In an instant, however, everything fell apart. What was once an unstoppable empire vanished into thin air. At this point in his career, however, Steph had nothing left to prove. His story could have ended here, a legend, a fortune, and immortalized. But the thing about greatness is that it never stops writing new chapters. When the 2021 season rolled around, the climb back up had already begun. This time, though, the road was anything but smooth.
Yeah, we need to win immediately.
The league had evolved. New stars had emerged, and for the first time in a long time, Steph was forced to swallow the bitter taste of defeat.
Up by Curry. Again, Curry with 5 fouls. Shot clock at 3. Morant gets inside. A little push shot is good.
But champions don't stay down. Fall 7 times, stand up at 8. Don't want to see us next year. For the 2022 season, Curry at age 33 stayed true to his word. Standing just 6'2" in a league filled with young, athletic giants, Steph was making the impossible look elementary. Don't get it twisted, though. It was anything but easy.
You believe you can get there, but you don't know, because it's a new crop of guys. It's the older version of us.
Steph wouldn't have had it any other way, though. This is exactly what he wanted. The pressure, the spotlight, everything. And so, it happened. Before the world could blink, number 30 was back on the biggest stage basketball has to offer. Across from him this time were the Boston Celtics, a team full of youth, talent, and hunger. But this time, more than just looking in the eyes of another foe, Steph was staring down destiny itself. It wasn't about proving anything to anyone else anymore. It was about proving it to the man in the mirror. Winning the first 3 games would have made everything easier. But as they say, life gives you what you need, not what you want. And after the first 3 games, the stage and the moment couldn't have been bigger for Steph.
And it was different because we were tested in a way that, was new.
If Curry was staring down destiny at the start of the series, then on this day, June 10th of 2022, he was face to face with it. The game started as a wake-up call to Curry. Imagine this, a game that could redefine not just your legacy, but your life. And the opening minutes looked like
the beginning of a blowout.
Double dribble from Klay Thompson.
Into the first quarter, and we're already down, I think, like 12-4 or something like that.
One thing was clear from the way Boston approached the game. They were committed to staying glued to Curry. They also rotated different defenders onto him and applied constant pressure, doing whatever they could to keep him from finding a rhythm. But through the little cracks and openings of the game, Curry started to find his spots. And then he started to cook.
A long distance shot. It's good. Steph Curry. Back-to-back long distance threes and a 5-point lead for the Warriors.
Boston had to call a timeout. Steph had become possessed, unleashing a surge of rage and energy the Celtics hadn't seen all series.
One shot and I started like yelling at the crowd. I was like, this is gonna be a different motherfucking game. I said that.
Steph started the second quarter on the bench, but when he came back in, it was like he never left.
That man is incredible. You know, the things he does, we kind of take for granted from time to time, but...
Just look at this play again. He beats both the Celtics captain and the Defensive Player of the Year to the ball. Then, with his footwork, before anyone in green could even react, he was already at the rim for the layup. This Celtics team wasn't a pushover, however, and when the halftime buzzer sounded, despite a first-half high of 19 points, Steph was still down by 5. It was clear if the Warriors were going to win, they needed more help.
Has had to do a lot of the load, obviously, for this team. He's doing it again. He's got 19 points. He's making buckets, brought to you by KFC. But he's going to need some help in the second half.
In a game with this much at stake, however, Steph knew he needed to be greater than great. He knew that the buck both started and ended with him, and that there wasn't any room for excuses. And what came next was one of the greatest shooting displays in NBA Finals history.
We threw at them, it's like they had an answer for it. And 9 times out of 10, the answer was just Steph.
Steph opened the third quarter with a classic pin-down screen of beauty. And when it worked the first time, he figured, why not do it again? Curry launches a 3. That's good. Steph Curry with his third three-pointer. NBA players talk a lot about the zone. When time fades, instincts take over, and everything slows down. Watching Steph in this moment, it was clear he'd entered the zone. 33-10 is crazy.
Especially in the NBA Finals, so he's our leader, and that's what he does. So huge game by him, and we needed that.
What made the entire spectacle even more impressive was that he did it while getting virtually no love from the refs. You know, a couple of those threes probably should have been But Curry didn't let the officiating shake him. After a brief burst of frustration, he locked right back in, having all the time in the world. Curry, three-pointer, puts it in, 33 for Steph Curry. Now look at this play. I've watched a lot of NBA basketball in my life, but I've never seen someone drive and kick to the corner, then relocate to that very same corner, fake a closeout, then shoot a 3. The third quarter ended with the game still a 1-point battle. Even with all of Steph's greatness, there was still no room to breathe. Throughout the first 3 games, the Warriors had been completely outscored in the final frame. And you can bet Steph knew that by heart by now. The fourth quarter opened with the Warriors missing a beat and the Celtics striking a chord. Kicks it out wide, corner 3. Oh, he's got it. You could see Steph on the bench at that point, taking a deep breath like he knew another Herculean effort was about to be required if he wanted to win. The Celtics' lead quickly stretched to 5. Any more, and the Warriors could have been in serious trouble. But luckily, Wiggins and Clay rose to the moment, giving Steph exactly the lift he needed. Sees Thompson. Thompson fires a 3. Bang. Thompson. With about 4 minutes left, however, in a 1-point game, Curry knew it was go time. Closing time, that it was now or never. First, he shook off the Defensive Player of the Year, then danced with another all-defensive talent, putting him to sleep before bursting through for a smooth mid-range floater.
Flips it up, shot is good!
For him to be able to go in there and kind of take over that game in those moments.
Moments later, he struck again, this time with Derek White, another elite defender. But it simply did not matter. This fan right here tried to jinx Curry with everything he had, only to watch Steph break his heart.
He did exactly what we expected him to do and helped carry us to the win.
Steph was on fire. His dad was loving it. He was him. This was his moment, put us on his back, willed us to a win. Much needed win. Game we had to have. came out and showed why he's one of the best players to ever play this game. After that, for all intents and purposes, it was Curry at the free throw line. We all know how that ends.
What he did game 4, I was like, yeah, he can do this. He can do this if he really needs.
This wasn't his highest scoring playoff game. It wasn't a gold medal performance. It wasn't a 50-point detonation. But when his team's back was against the wall, when his legacy was hanging in the balance, Steph Curry delivered the game of games.
At that moment, they felt like they won a championship. That's how hard they were celebrating after just the game. It was 2-2. You know what I'm saying?
And with that fourth ring on Juneteenth 2022, he didn't just meet destiny. He rewrote it, became a top 10 player of all time, and solidified his status as a basketball god.
Because people always like, what's your favorite moment? Like, was it starting? I'm like, nah, I was sitting on the bench doing the finals run. That's tough, bro, because it's like you seeing the best basketball being played, like, ever.